He spent his whole life building the house of his dreams, where every brick, every plank of wood was soaked with sweat and unfinished dreams. But he forgot one thing. That time never waits for anyone. And when the house was finally complete, he no longer had the strength to live in it. Perhaps all of us have once dreamed of such a place. A small home where sunlight spills gently through the morning window, where laughter echoes through the quiet of an afternoon. Yet, in our endless search for perfect happiness, we so often forget that happiness, sometimes, simply lives within the days we already have. Mr. John was an old carpenter, living quietly on the outskirts of a small town. His whole life was tied to the rhythm of chisels and saws, to the scent of fresh wood. People often saw him hunched over his workshop, his hands rough and scarred, his face marked by time. Yet in his eyes, there was always a silent kind of faith. He worked tirelessly, not for wealth, but for a simple dream: to one day live in a house built by his own hands. Years passed. He saved every penny, collected the finest pieces of wood, kept them as if they were fragments of a long, unfinished dream. Then one day, when he felt ready, he began to chop, to saw, to frame, to build, all by himself. Every strike of the hammer was a quiet prayer, every beam a memory. He built that house with all the love and patience of a man who had walked almost his entire life. Year after year, his hair turned silver, his back grew bent, yet his eyes still shone, like a small flame that refused to go out. And finally, the house was finished. Strong, beautiful, with a sunny front porch, and windows opening out to the same old field, where he once flew kites, where laughter once danced in the golden light. But when the house was ready, his body was not. His hands trembled. His vision dimmed. He sat quietly on the front steps, looking at the home he had built with his own hands, and smiled softly to himself. Maybe I spent a lifetime searching for something that was here all along. The day he passed away, the house had just received its final coat of paint. The scent of fresh lime and new beginnings still lingered in the air, drifting gently through the open windows, spilling across the front yard scattered with dry leaves. On the small table inside the living room, there was still a cup of tea, half finished, and a sketch, half drawn. A pencil lay fallen at the edge of the table, like a quiet full stop to an entire life. They said Mr. John lived a simple life. No distant journeys, no grand feasts or crowded rooms. Just an old workshop, a hammer, a chisel, and the sound of days quietly passing. Yet perhaps, in that simplicity, lay something deeper, something not everyone could see. For all his life, he kept building things meant for later. A house, a dream, a quiet faith. But time has never saved anything for later. The house he dreamed of now stood there, strong, beautiful, yet utterly still. It wasn't for him anymore, but within it lived his breath, his spirit, his love. Someone once asked, do you think he regretted it? That he never got to live in the house he built himself? Perhaps not. For to him, every day of building, every wall slowly taking shape, every echo of hammer strikes in the lonely afternoon, was already happiness. In his final moments, perhaps he was at peace, because that house, he hadn't built it just with wood and stone, but with his heart. Years have passed, and the house still stands, quietly, in the old garden. Its roof now green with moss, its wooden doors faded with time. Yet when the afternoon light filters through its windows, people still whisper, as if he's still there, smiling softly, watching life flow gently by. Time is like a river. It keeps moving, quietly, endlessly. waiting for no one, never turning back. One day, we may suddenly realize that all the things we said we'd do someday no longer have a day left to come. Mr. John spent his life building a house, but the most precious thing he left behind was not the house itself. It was a lesson that what matters most is not the place we reach, but how we live along the way. Each of us is building our own house. Some build with work, some with ambition, some with dreams left unfinished. But along that journey, we often forget to stop and ask, am I truly living happily today? Because the real house is not made of walls or roofs, but of the heart. It's in the eyes of those we love, in the laughter of a quiet afternoon, and in the gentle moments we once overlooked. If you're hearing these words right now, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look around you and realize perhaps the happiness you've been searching for has always been here, waiting to be seen. Life is a series of houses we pass through. Some we stay in, some we visit only once. Perhaps, in each house we build, we leave behind a piece of our heart, so that love never truly fades. If you've ever had such a house, a memory, a person, or a dream left unfinished, hold it close. And if you find a piece of yourself in this story, stay with Memories on Air. Because here, we tell simple stories, the kind that stay with you forever.